So welcome everybody to this iMoot session where Donald Schwartz is going to give us some information about Moodle, which is being used in medical education. I'm sure it'll give us some wonderful insight on in an area where accuracy is a really important aspect. So over to you, Donald.
Thank you. And once again, good morning all. As the slide says, this session is about Moodle for continuing medical education. I've been working with the American Osteopathic Association for about 1.5 years now, setting up this site rapidly. And AOA is a U.S. professional association, and they handle the continuing medical education for over 40,000 physicians and students. Very large organization, and not only do they need accuracy, but since it's medical, they're involved with HIPAA problems, which for those outside the United States, HIPAA is the privacy rules set up really before the internet and before sharing, and they kind of drive everybody crazy, but our medical records are kept private. But here we're dealing with education of physicians. It's not so critical, but they do need to respect privacy. Myself, I'm not an educator. I'm an independent consultant out of the computer business from New Hampshire in the U.S., and I'm down in Florida. I'm taking care of my 96-year-old mom who inconveniently broke her neck the last week of September. And it's not great for a 96-year-old to break her neck, but she's doing great. She's walking around. She's ready to get back to her bridge club pretty soon. But that kept me from really preparing for this. I was going to have a totally prepared session. And right now, I'm going to do a demo and do it on the fly and take your questions as we go. I don't do educational or school Moodle systems. I used to. I've probably built in my lifetime, since I started in 2003, well over 200 Moodle sites, which were primarily engineering education for architects and engineers. I helped start a business called CAD Learning, and we use Moodle for many, many schools throughout the world, actually. Currently, I've been on my own for many years, and I work on Moodle for business, government, and not-for-profits. And my consultancy is VectorSpec at vectorspec.com. That's the end of the sales pitch. So this site, which is, I'll get into the details of the 20 sites or whatever that make up this. Minerva, which is minerva.osteopathic.org. We launched really as a beta on September 30th. Well, actually in September or August of 2015. And we've been issuing certificates, which are valid certificates with either the logo of American Osteopathic Association or one of their many partners that supply content. As you can see, and I got these stats yesterday. The total certificates issued in September was 1,254. Now, out of 40,000 users, that may not seem like much, but most of these people, especially the physicians, go to the remote conferences. They go to the seminar sessions, and that's where they get their certifications. Minerva, the online, is intended more for the students and the people who just plain don't like to travel anymore. Anyway, September was a really big month because AOA, and they're all on their own. I did a really good job of training them. They're managing the site themselves. They uploaded all their back issues for the last 2 years of their journal, and those are all online with PDF and with quizzes. And I'm going to show my screen, and we'll go look at the site and take a look around at the type of courses they're using in doing this medical education. And if you have any questions, ask them in the chat. I guess Andy will be mentioning them to me because I don't have dual screen. Being at my mom's house, it was hard to get set up properly. In fact, I hope my bandwidth holds out. I'm going to show my screen. And let me know if you can see the AOA site. It's showing okay, Andy? It looks like it is. Okay, great. So this is their site, American Osteopathic Association. Let me go to osteopathic.org, show you who they are. And they host their everything internal in their Chicago offices. It's a medical association just like the AMA, but this is purely for osteopaths and osteopathic education. Users need to log in through this website in order to get connected, and all their stats are run through there. And this is on Microsoft servers, and all their stats are run through that server. So if I come back here, I'm going to log in and show you that login process. I am going to show the site as an admin. When they click here to log in, it's going to basically, they're not using OAuth. So, but it is going to log in through their server. I'm going to log in locally with my admin account. I've got your basic slideshow, typical Moodle site running the essential theme, which quite frankly I love. I've actually donated to the essential theme, probably not as much as I should, but I do love the theme. Very customizable, very advanced. Come down here, we'll see that there's many different course areas that are for physicians. And we may see some of these that aren't ready. We have the journals. If I go into their journals, they have each year. Let's just go into February 2016. And they receive credits. It tells them what they do. They must read the articles and then pass the online quiz. Typical Moodle site. They need to make sure, though, that everything is official. What happens here is reported back to governmental regulators. So that they have to track this incredibly well. They're using SQL queries from their server to pull more than your usual Moodle reporting information. Unfortunately, I won't be able to show you those reports because I'm not allowed to show you any names or information. So they have each of the articles from their journal split out separately, and then they have a quiz. Pass the quiz and you get your certificate. Just give you a view of the typical certificate. And if you're all Moodlers, you'll understand this. And it says I successfully passed. Isn't that great? So get rid of that. Let's go back to the home page. So the important things here, not only are they running a series of courses, some of their courses are SCORM. Most of them are video recordings of seminars given at medical conferences. So here's one. This is Vindico Medical Education, was the one who provided this. And they've got a pre-test coming in to find out briefly what they might know. And the pre-test is using the feedback module. No need to really show that. It's just a feedback, a few questions. Then we have the actual video that they're allowed to watch. And there's 3 interviews here, which are video interviews, and it's streaming. And I know we don't want to do too much. And we are pulling these videos off the local site. I jump in. I'm not going to show that. That's going to take too much bandwidth. So this, we have three different physicians doing their presentations. Then there's a post-test, the evaluation, which is very important also, which is another feedback, more or less telling what their impressions were of the course. Then they have certificates, and they have a choice of certificate. The AOA certificate, and then 2 different ones from Vindico Medical Education. And they're allowed to, it's according to how important it is to each physician, whether they want to show those hanging in their office, etc. They do have to get the primary certificate in order to earn their CME credits. So that was one partner. Another example is Erickson Early Childhood Development Program. Whoop, that's not ready yet. It was moved. They've changed the site on me. There it is. Early Childhood Development. They moved the course. Huge course here, Enhancing Communication Using the Fan, which is, I think if they sit through this entire thing, it's about 3 hours worth of training. And it is a SCORM module this time. So once again, this is locally hosted on their own servers, which has been one problem of itself because they have a pretty good usage rate. And people coming from all over the world. I did say I wanted to show you, and I'll go. Let me scroll through slowly so you can see the type of courses they're showing. They're doing a lot with Alzheimer's. Osteopaths manage basically everything except for surgery. They're sort of a offshoot of almost a family practice. I'm not an osteopath. I don't want to really speak about it. But you notice it's doing a lot with obesity. This year, opioid addiction is huge with them. This was the first course we put up on this website. And it's about basically evaluating their patients for opiate addiction and evaluating and treating and reporting, etc. All the information a physician might know in order to handle this. And they've all been, I don't know how it is in the rest of the world, but in the United States, we're swamped right now with heroin addiction, driving people crazy. So I'm going to see if I can show you a little bit of the reporting that goes on here, because it is pretty important. So Erickson report export tool. Let's see if we get it, if we actually get the report. So this is all customized in this report using the configurable reports with very customized reports. And let's just see if we can see this. I probably won't see it. I don't have Excel, so I shouldn't have even clicked on that. Let's cancel that. Very detailed, has all the information that they need, that they and their partner Erickson needs to, or whoever the partner is on that one, the information that they need to report back to the regulators, all generated into a single report and spreadsheet. I'm not sure what else I can show. Other than that, it's just a standard Moodle site with many, many courses. My major activity, other than managing it, has been dealing with this private association with an IT department using Windows that is sort of insists on everything being done the old way. I understand having a staging server. We have 7 staging servers here. Everything goes into, not new courses, any testing goes into a development server first, and then through multiple testing servers. And at one point along the line, the partners are invited in to evaluate and help build the courses. And then the courses are moved into another testing site where various testers come in and make sure the course is okay before it's pushed out to the main site. Therefore, everything you've been looking at is still just got upgraded to Moodle 2.9. And I've been on them like crazy to get over to Moodle 3. I insisted on getting off 2.8 when the security updates ended, but it's been a tough battle. But they're doing a good job maintaining it. And they've brought on some people that are highly, highly skilled. Some really good Nix people. Probably, I don't know if I need to Do I have standard branding format across the courses? No standard. It's based on who the partner is. The AOA, yes, they insist on their logo being properly placed in their courses being exactly the same. Different vendors want, yeah, I'm stopping the sharing right now. Still coming across nicely, Andy? Andy must have taken a break. Oh, you're there.
Carry on.
Okay, great. Trish, you do a health Moodle also, you said, right? They especially in the United States, the privacy concerns and regulations, which I think are good, but the regulations are much of the cost of publishing something like this training. You can't just take a course and throw it out there. It has to be so well tested, and there are no spelling errors that I can find. And they run for certain dates. Most of these courses, when they publish them, have an ending date. And the teacher training, I've got 2 people that I work with there, but one who they hired halfway through the process. I think Luciana started last May or June, and she came out of college as a basically an e-learning with an e-learning specialty, and had no experience with Moodle before, but I've worked with her, so she knows how to build the courses. And the most help she needed with me was technical aspects, and we've got some big technical aspects with this site. So you've got a video that may be 2.5 hours long. You're not going to upload that through the Moodle interface. So we have to put that up into the repository, the local repository, and then so I had to teach Luciana how to put those up, how to link to them, etc. when she works with it. Same with the SCORMs. Everything is large here. Nothing is small. Yes, the courses are based on the subject expert content. I'm not the teacher at all. I just help build the courses, and I help facilitate the learning. And the person I just met, Luciana, is now doing the instructional design. I was at first. I developed the initial format that they use. So when I showed the initial REMS course, let's say, which is one of their own courses, that course followed pretty much a standard Moodle layout. They're now moving in where certain of their partners want a specific design, or they may have an instructional designer on their own staff. Those are fairly large, either drug companies, and a lot of their partners are drug companies, medical device companies, or others. So they may have their own instructional designers or even build the courses. We hadn't done it yet as of September, but certain of the courses are going to be plugged in from external sites. But AOA is also in discussions with a few of them to host local versions of Moodle for their instructors. Much easier to work that way than to try to network in from outside the site. Any other questions out there? I just think, I think this is quite frankly the future. I think as this goes on, one thing they noticed, and we looked at all their statistics. In fact, they did a large survey just before we launched, and of all the students, the physicians across the world, and focused on how many plan to attend a conference. And these conferences, physicians, a conference might be on a cruise, or it might be in Las Vegas or whatever. How many plan to attend a conference, or their national conferences, which go on monthly throughout their different territories. And they were shocked that nearly 50% of the respondents said they plan to attend no conferences. They're getting all their education through the journals, or if after post-conference there were videos posted, or students nowadays have no intention of doing it. They want to be online. Therefore, this became a real priority with AOA, and they've invested a lot of money in this site. And they realize that in the future, it's going to switch from the face-to-face conferences, not completely, because nothing beats face-to-face, but a lot of it will become online, and they hope very shortly to be face-to-face. In fact, they plan on using Big Blue Button in the future and holding face-to-face conferences within this site. I'm reading some of the questions here. Nope, the participants are not uploaded. It's connected to their iMoot system, which is they use a third-party software, which I hate to say this, but is based on Cold Fusion, and it's called iMoot, and it's for managing of associations. And so it's not OAuth, but it's Direct Connect. Yeah, there's a time period for some of the courses. Some of them are staying live all the time. Most of the courses, they have to review them by a certain time. And many of them are, I think this month, or actually in October, one of the original courses ended. And if they hadn't taken it by then, sorry, because it has to be updated it has to be updated yearly with the latest news, latest training, etc. Oh, that's true, Andy. Yeah, I know conferences are really falling off, but I'll tell you, in my world, in the techie world of web development, there's nothing like being at conferences and meeting people and chatting over coffee during the breaks. But young people don't seem to realize that anymore. And maybe we've done too good a job getting them online with things like BBB. That's all I have. Unless, I can start thinking of things, but I could talk forever probably. If there's no more questions, I think we can probably end it, Andy.
Okay, Donald. Thanks for that. That was really interesting. It's always, as someone who runs a relatively small site, it's always fascinating for me to see these mega sites with huge amounts of courses and so on. And I'm always amazed at how people set those type of things up. So thanks for sharing that with us. And if anybody else wants to add any questions, please go on in the chat. And if not, I'm sure we'll catch you around at some of the other events here.
Vinny, I did want to, Andy, I wanted to add one other thing. Since I didn't really get this together, but AOA sent me all kinds of information and did approve me presenting this. I will be writing a case study and video and publishing that hopefully within the next few weeks. But thanks all for attending.
Thanks so much.
Trish.